Everything hurts. So today I just had my first ever parkour lesson where I jumped off the side of walls. I ran up walls. I vaulted over walls. I did a lot of running and climbing. I ran at inanimate objects for no real reason. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because I was terrified the entire time, and I'm in a lot of pain. So let's get into it. Today I really want to talk about fear and how sometimes I think it's a really rational thing to do, and I really want to focus on irrational fear tonight. I have an irrational fear of falling and of heights, and that I see no reason to throw my body at the ground and hope my teeny tiny arms will catch me. Like, that just seems like a bad idea, and yet I do it. And I think that sometimes we do have rational fears, like falling is one of the things that we stop ourselves from doing because gravity is not always in our favour. And this is like an evolutionary thing. It makes sense to be afraid of stuff to keep our bodies and our minds safe. What I struggle with is when that fear becomes irrational. I struggle with, am I cutting it for high horse, buddy? Everyone has irrational fears, am I right? No, irrational fears. When you let these fears that are meant to protect you define you and what you can and can't do because you do or don't feel comfortable doing it. And I think that's something that we can easily address in our lives. It's saying, I have an irrational fear of heights. Do I want to be afraid of this? No, I don't really have much of a choice. Or do I? Or do I? I do activities like parkour. I joined the circus for a year last year. Is because I am so afraid of these things, but I don't want to be conquered by fear. I don't want to have my fear define who I am, and I don't want to have a fear saying what I can and can't do with my body. And so I do stuff I'm terrified at, and I cry and swear and have so many panic attacks the entire time because I refuse to let these things stop me from doing something. If the safety measures are in place and there's people who can do it and support me, then I try my best to give it a go. And for me, this is for like physical things, like climbing and falling. But for many, it might be in social situations or in loving ourselves. That fear of, what if I am not good enough? What if people won't like me when I show them who I am? And I think it gets to the time where we have to decide, I want to put myself out there, and it may not be perfect, and it may not be great, and it may not meet what all my other role models are doing, but I'm trying my fucking best. There's one quote I really love from the King's Speech, and it says, you don't have to be afraid of what you were when you were 3 years old. And that really resonated with me, because I think that's something we do. We use these safety precautions we learn as kids, and we let them define who we are as adults, but we don't have to. We can choose how we act on our fears, and if we listen or we work on them, and it's okay if you're not ready to do it now, and it's alright to say, I have irrational fear, but really I have 17 and I don't want to work on that one. That's fine. But I think it's something that we can easily be aware of and then choose to act on it in a really productive and healthy way. I am so sore, so this is it for this video. It's a nice and quickie one. See you soon.